Oh, you're always watching. I mean, you're always watching. You know, I know a lot gets made at the deadline, but you're always looking at ways that you can improve your team, right? You know, and it's not always just external. The one thing with injuries this year and the amount of injuries we've had up front is we've been able to take a look at what we've got internally, right, which is important. So we've seen some guys come up and play well, and it gives you a little bit, you know, a little insight to what you have within the organization. Guys get put into different roles. Guys from the Marlies come up. Marlies are having a heck of a year as well. So, but you're always looking at, you know, we've had our pro scouting meetings now. We've had our amateur scout meetings this past week. So we're meetinged out, and so we're ready now to just kind of say, okay, is there, you know, you're always assessing the market to see if there's ways that, you know, external help can help you.
How much of the future are you willing to mortgage to win now?
Wow, that's a pretty open-ended question.
I didn't want to name names. But
You're always looking to, like I said, that's the balance, right? You got to see what's available. You know, it's not fantasy hockey. You got to see what's available, but you also want to be, you know, you look at good teams too. You need to have those good young players on, quite frankly, on entry-level deals and lower money. Those help you be successful as well too. So it's a balance, but you know, certainly we'll continue to look to see what the marketplace, what's available out there, and then ultimately what the cost is, and see if there's any fits.
What you saw from Fraser Minton when he came
Sorry?
What you saw from Fraser Minton
Yep.
when he came up, did you see enough from him to lead you to think that maybe the back end of the year he could be a guy that comes up and helps when the games mean the most?
Yeah, I mean, Fraser's having a real good year there. I think he had a great start with us when he came up, and I think you just saw, you know, the effects of a league on a young player, right? It's a hard league, first-year guy. I think the world of Fraser. Is he a guy that can help us? Yeah, I think he can help us. Is that now? Is that 6 months from now? Is that a year from now? We continue to look at it every day. Is Fraser coming in ahead of, you know, somebody from the outside? I don't know, because I don't know who that person is from the outside. So those are all things that you balance all the time.
where do things stand with Mitch and John, and throw Matt Nyes in there in terms of possible extensions before the end of the year?
Oh, those are things that we always are looking at and talking about and rumbling around, but nothing to report right now.
How do you feel about your center depth?
I think we got depth. We got lots of guys that can play the position. Is it an area that we continue to try to, you know, upgrade? I mean, I would say this, you know, the guys at the top of the food chain are pretty darn good, like Austin, and you know, how can you talk anything but positively the year John's had, right? Like, so to say you're going to go and get somebody above that, it's just not, you know, I don't think that's realistic. Is there ways that we can, you know, continue to look at adding to that? Sure. I think there's some depth there. Is that an area that we'd like to continue to look at? Sure, it's one, but we probably, along with about 15 or 18 other teams, are looking at center depth. So it seems to be a position du jour.
With Matthews coming back a second time, are you confident that the worst of what he was dealing with is?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing well. I think the question at the time was asked, like, you know, nothing's 100%, right? We don't know if any of us are. We're all day to day, aren't we? So we gave it a lot of time. He put a lot of work into getting through it, and you know, we're touch wood that we're on the other side of it. And you know, I think you can see by his play since he's been back, he's feeling good, and you know, we're hopeful it's behind him.
How important to go with the Four Nations?
Sorry?
Is the Four Nations going to be a conversation at the point?
Yeah, when we get there. I mean, again, there's nothing right at this point to make me worry about that. But we still are, what are we, a month away or so? So with all the players, you look at where they're at that time, but hopefully there's no setbacks and everything keeps moving forward.
How important is it to get clarity on Mitch and John's situation before the trade deadline so you can plan in terms of maybe bringing in a player with term? That big thing.
Plan
for the cap more moving forward.
Yeah, I think you're always kind of, certainly having guys sign gives you the exact, you know exactly what their number's at. You probably can throw a dart within the vicinity if they aren't signed. So certainly having guys signed gives you a little bit more, you know, you know exactly what their number is. So but again, you keep working at it until there's a deal, there's not a deal.
What type of center would you like to have? What type of center would you like to have?
Did I say I was going to add a center? You're kind of putting that in there. I don't, like, listen, there's you want good players, right? If there's one out there that fits, you know, reliable on both sides of the puck, certainly somebody that can add offense, all those types of things. Like I said, you know, what you want and sometimes what's available is two different.
Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin to Los Angeles Kings, possible deal with Toronto Maple Leafs. In an interesting twist in the NHL trade market, new rumors are emerging about Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin potentially being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Sources indicate that the Kings, who have been one of the most active teams in recent weeks, are evaluating the possibility of bolstering their defense with Beauchemin, while Versteeg, who brings strong offensive capabilities, could be a key piece in a larger trade. This move becomes even more intriguing considering the Kings' surplus of offensive pieces available for trade, exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for to strengthen their roster. It's speculated that with Versteeg included in the deal, the Leafs could be targeting a possible addition like Wayne Simmonds, along with a mid-range draft pick. This move makes sense given Simmonds' struggles this season, as he has yet to find his top form on the ice. To add more drama to the trade talk, there are even whispers that veteran defenseman Tomas Kaberle could be included, opening the door for a potential pursuit of Brayden Schenn. If completed, this move could have a significant impact on reshaping the Leafs lines and adding more depth to the team. Stay tuned for updates to see if these trades come to fruition and how they might shape the future of Toronto and Los Angeles this season. In an interesting twist in the NHL trade market, new rumors are emerging about Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin potentially being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Sources indicate that the Kings, who have been one of the most active teams in recent weeks, are evaluating the possibility of bolstering their defense with Beauchemin, while Versteeg, who brings strong offensive capabilities, could be a key piece in a larger trade. This move becomes even more intriguing considering the Kings' surplus of offensive pieces available for trade, exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for to strengthen their roster. It's speculated that with Versteeg included in the deal, the Leafs could be targeting a possible addition like Wayne Simmonds, along with a mid-range draft pick. This move makes sense given Simmonds' struggles this season, as he has yet to find his top form on the ice. To add more drama to the trade talk, there are even whispers that veteran defenseman Tomas Kaberle could be included, opening the door for a potential pursuit of Brayden Schenn. If completed, this move could have a significant impact on reshaping the Leafs lines and adding more depth to the team. The Kings' situation is complex, as they are in the midst of a transitional period. Their aging roster, which includes a core group that led them to several successful playoff campaigns in the past, has seen some struggles in recent seasons. While there's a clear need for defensive help, Los Angeles may also want to improve their offensive consistency in order to make a deep playoff push. The combination of Beauchemin's defensive reliability and Versteeg's offensive upside could help the Kings balance their lineup. From the Leafs' perspective, this potential deal is about retooling for the future. The team is in a position to compete, but they also need to solidify certain areas on the ice. Adding a player like Wayne Simmonds could provide the grit and scoring touch that the team has been missing. Furthermore, acquiring a mid-range draft pick could help with future team-building efforts, as Toronto looks to remain competitive while still developing young talent. The inclusion of Kaberle in the trade package could be a strategic move for both teams. The veteran defenseman, who has been with the Leafs for a long time, has seen his role diminished in recent seasons. However, his experience and offensive abilities could be a valuable asset for Los Angeles, who could use a steady presence on the blue line to help their younger players develop. The talk surrounding Brayden Schenn's potential involvement in the deal adds an intriguing layer to the negotiations. Schenn, a versatile forward, has shown flashes of brilliance but has been inconsistent at times. If the Leafs are able to land him, it could be a great opportunity for both the player and the team to find success together. Schenn's physicality, two-way game, and leadership could be exactly what the Leafs need to bolster their forward group. While the trade market can be volatile and unpredictable, these rumors suggest that both the Kings and Leafs are preparing for significant changes. For Toronto, this could mark the beginning of a new era, with a focus on adding more experience and depth. For Los Angeles, the trade could be a chance to retool and address some of the weaknesses in their lineup, while still competing for a playoff spot this season. Of course, as with any trade rumors, it's important to remember that these discussions are fluid and can evolve quickly. There are many moving parts in these types of negotiations, and both teams will likely have to weigh their options carefully before making any final decisions. It's also possible that other teams could enter the fray, further complicating the situation. In the coming days, fans of both teams will be watching closely to see if any concrete moves are made. The NHL trade deadline is fast approaching, and teams are scrambling to position themselves for a successful postseason. Whether this rumored deal materializes or not, the possibility of a major trade between the Leafs and Kings will certainly keep fans on edge as the season continues to unfold. The trade talks involving Versteeg, Boschman, and potentially Simmons or Schenn highlight the delicate balance that NHL teams must strike between immediate success and long-term growth. Both the Leafs and Kings are trying to find that balance, and this rumored deal could ultimately serve as a defining moment for both franchises. Only time will tell if these discussions lead to a significant trade that changes the course of their seasons. As the trade deadline approaches, the intensity around rumors like these only increases. Both the Los Angeles Kings and Toronto Maple Leafs are under the microscope as teams look to improve their rosters for a potential playoff push. The Kings have been known for their strong defensive play, but they are currently struggling to generate consistent offense. Adding Versteeg could address this issue, as he has proven himself as a capable top-six winger, and his experience could be crucial in the high-stakes games ahead. On the other hand, the Leafs have been one of the most exciting teams in the league offensively, but their defense has been a point of contention. Boschman's presence on the blue line could offer much-needed stability. The veteran defenseman has the ability to shut down opposing forwards while also contributing offensively, making him an ideal fit for a team like Toronto that's looking to improve its defensive depth. There are also whispers that the Leafs could be eyeing other potential trades that could impact their future. With a number of prospects already developing in their system, the team might look to trade for established players who can make an immediate impact. This would allow the Leafs to push for a deeper playoff run while continuing to build for the future. Acquiring more assets like Schenn or Simmons could make Toronto a more well-rounded and dangerous team come postseason time. While the prospect of a trade involving Versteeg, Boschman, and players like Simmons or Schenn is tantalizing, it's important to remember that these deals don't always go as expected. NHL trades are often a game of high-stakes negotiation, where teams must find the right balance of value for their players. If either team overpays, they could regret the deal in the long term. Therefore, both the Leafs and Kings must approach these potential trades with caution and be sure they are getting the right pieces to fit into their systems. One factor that cannot be overlooked in this trade talk is the timing. With the NHL season already well underway, teams are more reluctant to make big moves unless they're confident it will benefit them immediately. The Leafs, in particular, are in a good position to compete this season but need to fine-tune their roster to reach their full potential. If this trade is going to happen, it will likely need to be finalized soon to give the players involved enough time to settle into their new teams before the playoff race intensifies. For the Kings, the need to revamp their offense has been a pressing issue. The addition of a skilled player like Versteeg would inject some much-needed scoring depth into their lineup, but it might not be enough to make them a serious contender unless they make other moves. The Kings have a solid defensive core, and adding Boschman could help them become even more difficult to play against in the defensive zone. If these players are swapped for the right combination of offensive firepower and draft picks, it could set the stage for a stronger second half of the season. Another element to consider is the cap space situation for both teams. The Leafs, who have a number of high-salaried players, may need to make some financial adjustments to accommodate new acquisitions. The Kings, too, will have to assess their payroll to ensure they're not stretching themselves too thin in the pursuit of improving their roster. Both teams will need to be strategic in balancing their financial commitments while also adding pieces that will make them competitive. As these trade rumors swirl, the speculation around the potential outcomes continues to fuel excitement.